In the midst of racial and political division in the eastern state of Jharkhand, India, citizens were shocked to find out that on October 8, 2020, that Stan Swamy, a prominent priest and human rights activist, had been arrested under India's anti-terror law on the basis of 50 files found on his computer, incriminating documents that linked Swamy with the Maoist insurgency, which sought to establish communist rule in India through violent revolution. Swamy denied the allegations and claimed he was innocent, and he was innocent. But who would have the motive to frame an elderly human rights activist for terrorism? Swamy would never find out because despite his old age and poor health, he was denied bail and would die after spending less than a year in confinement on July 5, 2021. But it wouldn't be until late December of 2022 when the truth was uncovered and his innocence was proven. An American digital forensics firm, Arsenal Consulting, discovered that hackers had gained control of his computer and were part of a much larger conspiracy, with their actions aligning sharply with state interests. The timeline of activity indicated that extensive time, resources, and infrastructure had been dedicated to his surveillance. The hackers that compromised Swamy's computer planted evidence that led to his arrest with several others and covered their tracks by deleting files that revealed access to his machine. The Arsenal report stated, "It should be noted that this is one of the most serious cases involving evidence tampering that we've ever encountered, and despite the hackers trying to hide their actions, just a few sloppy mistakes would reveal their identities, first to Arsenal Consulting, and then to the world." Stan Swamy was a Catholic priest and a human rights activist for several decades. He advocated for the rights of a group of people known as the Dalits, previously called the Untouchables, the lowest of the caste system in India. Swamy fought against the displacement of these communities and worked to protect the rights of the Dalits, along with other marginalized groups in India. Swamy suggested his arrest was linked to his activist work as it involved dissent against government policies. He said,
"What is happening to me is not something unique happening to me alone. It is a broader process that is taking place all over the country. We are all aware how prominent intellectuals, lawyers, writers, poets, activists, students and leaders are all being put into jail because they have expressed their dissent or raised questions about the ruling powers of India."
But little did Swamy know the extent that he was surveilled. He was the target of an extensive malware campaign that stretched for nearly 5 years. It all started when Swamy received an email from someone posing to be part of the same activist group as Swamy. In reality, this email was sent by a hacker, and attached to the email was a PDF file that looked like any other, but it actually contained malware, which silently infected Swamy's computer when he downloaded it. This is known as a spear phishing attack, where hackers portray themselves as trusted people with the intention of stealing private information, or in this case, downloading malware. There were 2 pieces of malware that was hidden in the PDF file. They were called Netwire and Dark Comet. These are remote access trojans, or RATs for short. This is a type of malware that a hacker can use to gain full admin privileges and remote control of a victim's computer. The malware installed allowed hackers to transfer a series of files to Swamy's computer, including one that listed weapons possessed by various units of a militant rebel group, and another that seemed to suggest kidnapping members of India's ruling party, the BJP. But Arsenal also found something else on Swamy's computer. The hackers had begun what is known as anti-forensics, where they deleted files that revealed their access to Swamy's machine in an attempt to cover their tracks just one single day before Pune police seized Swamy's computer. In other words, the hackers wanted to plant fake evidence that could be revealed to incriminate Swamy, while at the same time deleting actual evidence of their fabrications that might be discovered in legal proceedings. Based on artifacts found in the computer's memory and disk storage, it was found that Swamy never touched the files himself. After his devices were seized by the police, the files planted by the hackers was the digital evidence that was used to frame him and charge him with terrorism, as well as inciting a riot in 2018 that led to the death of 2 people. This riot in 2018 was the result of long-standing racial and political tensions when critics of the government clashed with pro-government supporters near Bhima, Corrigan. The event led to subsequent protests, which resulted in more violence, leaving even more people dead. In the following months, police linked the cause of the violence to the banned Maoist Communist Party of India. But Arsenal's findings match previous cases of evidence fabrication, seemingly carried out by the same group of hackers that targeted other defendants' machines that Arsenal had previously examined. Pegasus spyware was also found on Swamy's cell phone. Pegasus is a commercial product that is only sold to governments and can be secretly installed on cell phones running most common operating systems. Pegasus is able to use a zero-click exploit. This type of exploit doesn't require any interaction with the person using the phone. Pegasus is capable of reading texts, tracking calls, reading passwords, tracking locations, and can access a phone's microphone and camera. After the public release of the Arsenal report, security researchers around the world collaborated to try to uncover the identities of the hackers, and their findings were so shocking that they had the potential to cause widespread revolt in India. A security analyst who chose to stay anonymous learned that 3 of the victim email accounts compromised by hackers had a recovery email and a phone number added as a backup. This was intended to allow the hacker to easily regain control of the accounts in case the passwords were changed. That recovery email on all 3 accounts included the full name of a police official in Pune who was closely involved in the Bhima Corrigan riots. John Scott Railton, a security researcher at the University of Toronto, was brought in to assist further. He confirmed the link between the Pune City Police and the recovery email and number. John dug up entries in open-source databases containing Indian numbers and emails, looking for the recovery number that linked it to an email address ending in pune@ic.in, a suffix for other email addresses used by police in Pune. Many phone calls and multiple emails were sent to the Pune City Police and their police official, whose personal details were linked to the hacked accounts, but they received no replies. This was undeniable evidence that the Pune City Police was tied to a hacking campaign that had framed, charged, and jailed Swamy, a dying old man, due to his activist work and for exercising his right to peaceful dissent. But Swamy was far from unique in being targeted by the officials who sought to frame him. Based on the details of the malware and hacking infrastructure described in Arsenal's report, it's clear that hundreds of activists, journalists, and academics have been targeted since as early as 2012. Given how recent these events were, only time will tell whether we see an impartial investigation into the unlawful targeted surveillance and falsified evidence against human rights activists in India.